Hello, everyone. This is Lisa Diamond, your Lisa Diamond Speaks. And tonight we come to you guys talking about the death of Alyiaha and how they're saying now that Alyiaha, after years of Alyiaha been gone, that Alyiaha death could possibly have been planned and plotted. Definitely, they have a lot of people that has been on this case. Me, like Tadamia, is the number one USA investigator. I have been also investigating this case, have reopened this case, and lots of other people around the world that's presenting this evidence and information too the justice system, hoping that they will review it and definitely will open her case back in the justice system, not just on the social media platforms with investigators such as myself and other people who have been talking about it. So tonight we're going to go ahead and review that information that we do have. That we are working on a documentary called Alyiaha Investigation of what really happened to Alyiaha and how that there are some strange things that you guys need to know a part of this investigation of what was the first plot to take Alyiaha's life and what was the whole reason. We definitely know that Alyiaha's cash value for her death was $90 million, which our uncle did cash out that, and he did sign a waiver saying that if something happened to Alyiaha, the princess of R&B, that he would have no responsibility whatsoever after they would have found Alyiaha to be have passed away from an accident. So definitely we know that the motive was to make it look like Alyiaha was involved in some type of accident on the Bahamas. Whether she wanted to go alive or not, she definitely was going to pass away on that Bahamas. There was no way Alyiaha being worth $90 million was going to be able to ever leave the Bahamas and return home when that was her cash value. Definitely, we know that we will give you guys the information and what we have now and taking you guys through the steps of the things that you guys should pay attention to that we didn't even know existed. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the shoot where Alyiaha had to do underwater. They definitely told her to hold her breath for as long as she could. Some people are calling it this was the first attempt for Alyiaha before the plane crash. We know that in order to plot something, they're coming out years later saying that Alyiaha, her death was plotted. It was planned, and they had a plan for it. If they couldn't get her this way, they definitely was going to get her that way. So some people are calling that for this shoot here, they was going to allow Alyiaha to drown herself accidentally so that it could look like an accidental death and that they can get paid as well for that. Because think about it, if Alyiaha would have went underwater and hold her breath and drown in the water, it would have been looking like she passed away accidentally because she was the only one underwater. You couldn't hold anyone at fault for this. Nobody was around her. Nobody was there to hold her underwater. So it would automatically look as an accident. But when Alyiaha did survive the shoot, and she did tell people that she was uncomfortable. She had many problems breathing underwater. She didn't feel comfortable, but she said, I had to do it because this was my job. I had to do this shoot. As difficult as it was, why would they want her to go underwater and do this shoot? Why couldn't they keep it on water? People are crushing in the Bahamas. And why didn't they close down this place after Alyiaha and the other people lost their lives? Also, we're going to be talking about the Bahamas because we know that Alyiaha went to the Bahamas, but everybody is questioning why couldn't Alyiaha go to Florida like Ashanti and Beyonce, who did many videos in Florida on a beach instead of going way to the Bahamas, where she would actually have to take a flight there back and to the Bahamas. So we also know that Alyiaha's flight was canceled. Alyiaha was sent a first flight by someone for her to leave the Bahamas, but they definitely canceled Alyiaha's flight. And they canceled her flight and they made her get on the flight that they wanted her to get on with the drunk high pilot. Forgive me if I'm saying he was drunk. I want to say he was high on cocaine and God knows whatever else, but we definitely know that they wanted Alyiaha to get on the plane with that pilot so that that pilot could go ahead and crash that plane because we knew that he was involved in this as well. Now, of course, the pilot is there along with Alyiaha and others, so therefore he could never ever be found guilty for what he did to Alyiaha. But we do know that Alyiaha had a plan to come pick her up. Had she got on that plane, she probably would have been alive today. But because they canceled her plane and gave her another plane that they wanted to get her on to make sure that this happened, it definitely looked like Alyiaha's death was plotted to me, and it definitely worked out well. Now, all these people lost their lives, and it's such a sad tragedy that we can't just think about Aliyah. We got to think of all these people who was looking forward to returning home to their families and loved ones, hoping that this would definitely, get them home on the right path. So we definitely know that when it comes to this, that Aliyah was very beautiful. These people loved it, Aliyah, and they loved it to be around her. And I think they definitely are angels of Aliyah. Now, the Bahamas definitely got rid of the bodies and definitely did not show no remorse. They didn't shut down the Bahamas. They didn't put any crosses up. They definitely didn't play any tributes to Aliyah and those people by showing any remarks. Normally, when something happens on a property of someone's, as beautiful as the Bahamas they say is, and a lot of people have many good reviews who have been there. Definitely they should have put up some type of cross, especially being that Aliyah and these people, Aliyah was a celebrity, and these people all lost their life there. But they didn't think for a minute. They didn't shut it down. They had no remarks, and they definitely we are calling the Bahamas out for that. Everybody questioned what was the real reason for Aliyah dying. A lot of people know the real reason. It was for the money. $90 million is a lot of money. $90 million is a lot for an accident. People don't understand the difference between when you have a policy on you, an insurance policy. We all is told that if you are in an accident and you accidentally die, your family will get a large sum of money because it's an accident. It's not like you just passed away on your own. But because I remember when I went to get a policy and I was looking at a policy, it was like, well, your family could get $20,000 to $60,000 if it's an accidental death. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. So a lot of people don't know that when you go and check your insurance policy, it has that policy with that accident part that states that if you are in an accident, that you will definitely get paid large amount of money to your family, loved ones for you. I don't know what is the difference between an accident and you passing away. It looked like it would be the same thing, but I guess accidents don't just happen. Sometimes they happen. But we all know that they are bringing back the Aliyah case and definitely getting justice for Aliyah. What's so touching about Aliyah is Aliyah was a princess. She was beautiful. She was pregnant young. She had to get an abortion. She went through a fake marriage, with the R&B singer that's locked up right now. Aliyah never got justice. All those other women got justice for what happened in that relationship. But Aliyah was very young. She was very young, 15 years old. And definitely she was passed around since then. There are rumors of her uncle dropping her to the hotel with the famous R. Kelly at 15 years old to record music. We know that this girl was 15 years old. There's no way in the world you should allow her to be in a hotel room with a grown ass man. That was just sick. There are also rumors of Aaliyah's mother sleeping with R. Kelly, then passing Aaliyah on to R. Kelly. Definitely all of this has to come into play. Why would they do this to Aaliyah? Aaliyah was so beautiful. She didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. And definitely we want justice for Aliyah. Now we know that Fatima, which is Aliyah's friend, was taking pictures of her, saying that she was sleeping so beautiful that she wanted these images of her. But we always did question Fatima relationship with Aliyah because we know that Fatima has been around for so long. She has did a lot of things with Michael Jackson. She has also collected a lot of money off Aliyah. She's choreographed a lot of things for Aliyah. She pretended to be, well, I'm not going to say pretended to be. She proclaims to be Aliyah's best friend and that she loved that Aliyah, but yet she did not get on a plane with Aliyah, but she was snapping pictures. This picture even surfaced to the internet somehow out of her phone. Like, you taking pictures of her. How do someone release any photos of Aliyah sleeping? Now, there are rumors that Aliyah may have been um, given a pill to take, which putting her in a deep sleep. This question us, it was Aliyah dead on this picture? Was she in a coma? Because there are things that they're saying that Aliyah did not walk on that flight. She actually did. She was carried by people. Somebody carried her on. So we don't know if Aliyah was definitely carried on, but it looks to me if she was carried on, it doesn't matter how sedated she was, how strong the medication was, especially if Aliyah did not do any drugs. Definitely Aliyah would have woke up when they would have carried her. And I always say that she would have moved some type of way. So this questions us on this picture that Fatima took. Was Aliyah dead? Was she in a coma? I mean, what was the case with this? Because if she was carried and you just took this picture and then she was supposedly leaving, because I always thought that Aliyah walked on a plane. She walked on there, waved by, according to what Fatima said. They waved by. But now they're going back and say, hold up, Aliyah was given a pill, and that pill put her into a deep sleep. And now that she was in a deep sleep, they have no footage of her actually getting on that plane, because we know that the Bahamas, they claim that they don't have any footages of Aliyah M getting on a boat, which was or the boat or the plane or whatever it was. Because to me, it looked like they would have had to get on the boat and get on the plane. But now they're saying that Aliyah was sleeping and she was carried. If she was carried on a plane, they're not going to have any footages. Nobody's going to be able to talk. So keep in mind that all of these people that was Aliyah won't be able to never talk and tell their story. I kind of wish that, even though this plane crash happened, I kind of wish they had two or three survivors. Somebody that can explain to us what happened in those moments. Was Aliyah sleeping on that flight? Did she feel anything? Did they feel anything? According to the reports, this plane crash, I doubt if anybody felt anything. It's like they all died instantly. And I'm pretty sure that their families feel some type of way when they look at their loved ones lost their life, but not only their loved ones. You're around the singer Aliyah. They were supposed to make sure Aliyah had a secure flight and nothing goes wrong, nothing happens. She was a princess, a celebrity. They were supposed to make sure nothing happens. Put her on the right flight. Make sure whoever's driving that flight is the right person for the trip. Unless Aliyah accident was plotted the whole time and they canceled her flight on purpose, and they sent back the flight that they wanted her to get on because they knew that that flight would crash and then they would get paid immediately. It would take them no long to get that money off from Aliyah for what had happened to her. It's such a tragedy. So we look back at Fatima. Fatima has been around Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is one of the richest men in the world, to being working under Aliyah. So it looks like Fatima had her hands in the cookie jar a lot. She had a lot of assets to Aliyah money, but what would make Fatima not go with all these people when they leave the Bahamas? What would make Fatima stay? And once again, we are not blaming Fatima for anything that she did. We're not saying that she had any part in this, but she had to know something. We question, does Fatima know anything about this? Does she know anything like to tell the press, or can she come forward and tell someone something just out of the strength to go ahead and save Aliyah from, family from having to deal with this over and over again? Here it is, we're coming years now, reopening cases on Aliyah to try to get some type of justice. Thank God to all the people that's all around the world that has been digging into this, investigating this, looking into this, and definitely telling people for years that something is definitely wrong. That definitely Aliyah was no accident. Definitely that this was plotted, this was planned, and definitely they had a motive of why they did this. But to see Fatima be as so close with Aliyah, we question, do Fatima know something? Because we're pretty sure if Aliyah was here, Aliyah would have definitely not leave Fatima go on that plane by herself. She would have definitely, you know, been by Fatima's side. And to me, if Fatima knows something, it's definitely fake of her being a fake friend to not even tell Aliyah. But of course, when being offered money and being offered money to keep quiet, there's no telling what these people know. And why didn't Fatima go on that trip with them to go home? And why did Fatima take this beautiful image of Aliyah? And was Aliyah sleeping? Was she in a coma? Was she dead? Those questions we definitely are looking into. We know that Aliyah was so beautiful, and we could not believe that Aliyah's life was so destroyed. Keep in mind that Cream of the Damn movie did predict Aliyah's death and how it would happen, and nobody paid attention to that until it finally did happen, to where she definitely did burn to ashes. Now, we don't have any autopsy to see how badly Aliyah's body was. If she had an open casket, we definitely going to be looking into that information for the documentary. But definitely, we know that all of these people all deserve justice, and we know that Fatima had to know something. Something was going down. There's a reason why she was around Aliyah, and that was the reason why she did not get on the plane. Now, I know some people are saying, okay, what if it was fate? What if Fatima, just didn't want to go? What if she had something else to do and she just didn't know this was going to happen? But then you come back and you look at the whole scenario. So now they're saying Aliyah death maybe was plotted and that they knew that this accident was going to happen. They canceled her flight on purpose to make sure it happened so that the people could get the money for her $90 million. And God knows how much money they got, and we don't even know if they had policies on the other people. So we're saying that maybe Fatima knows something and have been quiet this whole time without telling anyone anything, just vanished. She took it very painful. She did cry on the documentary saying that she was just waving bye to these people. And that's another question comes into play. Fatima said she waved bye. So how can you wave bye to someone who you said he's saying now was carried on a plane? Unless Aliyah walked on the boat and then fell asleep and then they carried her. You see, there's a lot of missing information that we need to know and clear up and get all the whole facts. We need to know, was Aliyah, when it came to this picture, sleeping, carried onto the plane from this moment here. After Fatima took the picture, came back later on, they went in her room. She wouldn't wake up and they carried her on there because she was so sedated from this pill that they given her. What kind of pill they gave her, they never came out and said that. So if that's the scenario, then Aliyah had to been sleeping during the time of the crash and she would have not felt nothing. Or whatever, this pill put Aliyah in a deep sleep and they didn't call for help. She showed no responders and they didn't think nothing was wrong with her. And look like this will be the whole time right now to really get Aliyah to, um, someone to come check her out, medical, to see why she's not responding. So a lot of questions come into play of, was Fatima a real friend? Was she not a real friend? Was she in it for the money? Did she have something to do with it, meaning a small part in not telling anyone what she know and making sure that she will not get herself, her life taken by getting on that flight? Maybe she got a phone call and someone told her not to say anything, that our plane was going to crash. That's all we're saying. We're not holding Fatima for the death of Aliyah. We're not accusing her, none of that. We're just questioning the motive here, putting everybody who was around Aliyah during the time. Fatima even said that her and Aliyah was sitting by the tree talking about their lives and what their life was going to be like. So you were sitting behind the tree and you was choreographing Aliyah, showing her how to do rock the boat, but yet when the plane came, Fatima all of a sudden had a change of mind. She didn't want to go. She had other things to do. So we know that doing this shoot, this everybody is coming up with this right now. I did not know this. That this was the first attempt to make Aliyah look like an accident underwater, holding her breath for as long as she could, so that it could look like an accident and they could still get paid. But of course, when that plane failed, when plane A failed, they had to go to plane B, and we know that that was a beautiful shoot. It was just, she struggled. The poor girl couldn't do it barely. She still did it because it was her job. And that was just very sad to do her like that. She didn't deserve that. And you could tell she was struggling. She was very beautiful. We questioned, what would Aliyah look like today? And why did Aliyah's life be taken so soon? And everybody knows that Aliyah, during this plane crash, Aliyah had no idea that this was going to happen. She definitely thought she was going to return home to her family. Definitely wanted to get back home to her family. Aliyah has discussed a lot of things that happened in her childhood from when she was 15. Also coming out to where she felt like she was violated by R. Kelly. She felt like she was taken advantage of. Any young girl would feel that way, and it's such a shame that we don't never, we couldn't go back in time and hear Aliyah's story and what really happened. We just can go based off of what the internet tell us and what we seen happen. I think around this time when Aliyah was dating R. Kelly, a lot of us was young. We didn't really understand what was going on and what was happening. We really didn't understand when Aliyah definitely lost her life during this plane crash. But we definitely know now that they all had a motive for Aliyah. What was this motive? It was for money. Money and greed and power. Now they definitely are saying that right now they are going to reopen this case with Aliyah. The public is demanding that they reopen this case. They take a look at all the information that's gathered, presented, and definitely tell us what really happened to Aliyah. Why did they plan to do this to her, and why these people was never arrested on this for doing this to her? Definitely, we know that it's years later. We definitely don't know who is fully responsible for it, but they're definitely saying that they're going to try to reopen the Aliyah case again to bring justice for her and these people who lost their life. And definitely, I think that Aliyah deserved justice because having a cash value of $90 million, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that money? Who wouldn't want $90 million? But that's not the question. Who would do something so sick to want $90 million for the death of Alyiaha and all those people? That is just the sickest thing ever, to see someone suffer in pain for your own insanity, to make sure that you're secure for the rest of your life. So we know that Alyiaha cash value was $90 million. We don't know if any other money ever came to play. We don't know if other people money came to play. We just don't have that information at this time. They're still going back in time and investigate and pull up all information and see what they can find and see if they can bring justice for Alyiaha finally after all these years, because everybody deserves to know the truth and what really happened. This is your girl, Lisa Diamond Speaks. I hope you guys understand that, speaking up for the truth is always correct, but definitely when you're dealing with something like this, we always did look up to Alyiaha. We loved it, her voice, loved the way she sang. Definitely Alyiaha never had justice, and we definitely think she's going to get justice. Thank you to all the people that's out there definitely looking into this and putting up so much information out there in front of the FBI eyes to tell them, you need to reopen this case. You need to reopen this case. Alyiaha did not get justice. She definitely went through a lot. She definitely didn't deserve what happened to her. This girl, this girl was sent a plane. They didn't let her get on the plane. They canceled her plane. And they sent her the plane that they wanted her to get on with someone that was under the influence of drugs, to make sure that this happens so that they can get paid. And of course, Alyiaha fans mourns her every day. But there are some people that stood up for Alyiaha and definitely told them that Alyiaha, that death was no accident. They definitely knew this was going to happen to this girl. They plotted on her. They definitely made sure it happened. So it's such a very, shame that this happened to her, that she didn't even make it back after the premiere of her video, Rock the Boat. That was the last video, Rock the Boat, that we seen from Alyiaha. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. This is your girlie, Tadami Speaks.